The War Raiders are now the Viking Experience, Eric and Ivar, which I'm not sure if that's better or worse, but at first I thought they said Igor, but it's not Igor, it's Ivar. And I know that I looked these names up. There's like some Norse history meaning behind each of these names that they had them pick. It's not just random names they pulled out of the sky. But that's what they are now. Eric and Ivar. They changed their individual names too. So no more Hansen and Rowe. They stole Rowan's first name and they gave it to Rowe. Rowan. I smell a conspiracy here. But you know, there was a Sports Business Journal article this week on WWE Developmental in the Performance Center. Big, long article. And it was revealed in the article that Punishment Martinez from Ring of Honor, who signed with WWE last year, is now Damian Priest. That's his new name. And as names go, Damian Priest is not a bad one. The Viking Experience is a bad name. It sounds like they drive their own tour bus line. And I don't care if they came up with the name themselves, which I'm not saying they did, but if it were to come out that, hey, it wasn't Vince McMahon who picked the name, but they picked the name themselves, and they do, especially Eric, I think. He is very big into Viking history. Him and his wife, Sarah Logan, they put a video up on the WWE PC channel that showed them doing some kind of Viking reenactment. They do this on the weekends or on their days off. So yes, they are very, very big into Vikings and Viking history. It matters not to me if it were to come out that they themselves came up with the new name. The point is, why force them to change the name in the first place? Why establish your name and your identity on one brand only to change it on the other? It would be like allowing Samoa Joe to be Samoa Joe in NXT and then calling him up and changing his name to Joe Maga. You just wouldn't do it. It doesn't make sense. Well, according to The Observer, it had nothing to do with the word war. Some people thought, well, Vince McMahon doesn't like, you can't use the word war on television, even though they were calling Ember Moon the war goddess on TV, so that made no sense. So that excuse went out the window. I mean, hell, maybe they're treating NXT now like WCW. These guys made the jump, but WWE doesn't have the rights to the name. Maybe Vince McMahon was worried that Triple H might slap a lawsuit on him. He should slap a straitjacket on him, is what he should do. According to The Observer, this was strictly a Vince McMahon call. He wanted them to have a new name, and that's it. That's the explanation. So the day of, they get to the building. These guys are all scrambling to come up with a name now for these guys. And the first name pitched was the Berserkers. Now, we already had one Berserker in WWE, and he tried to kill The Undertaker. Now we would have had two Berserkers. I don't hate that name. I actually don't hate that name. I miss the days when we had kind of cool names like the Berserkers or the Road Warriors or Demolition. I welcome, gimmicky as though they may be, the days of cool sounding tag team names where you don't have to just use your real name. Some guys use their real names, that's fine. Other guys can have gimmick type names. I'm cool with that. That's kind of what War Raiders was, and War Raiders wasn't a great name either. War Machine sounds cool. I know why they changed that. Or I think why they changed that with the MMA guy of the same name who's a piece of crap. Like, I know that whole story. So the Berserkers, the more I kind of thought about it, and I said that out loud, I said, you know what? Hopefully they don't have these guys coming out holding their fists going, huss, 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 like John Nord used to do. But the Berserkers, you know what? You could do a lot worse as far as names go. No less stupid, though, to force them to change it. Vince didn't like the Berserker name, and whoever came up with the idea, whether it was Vince or someone else, the Viking Experience was born. And then he had them change their individual names. It was change for the sake of change. They're mine now. I own them. I want to make them my own. Road Dogg was all over Twitter because they were getting so much shit, this company was. All over social media, all over Twitter. And Road Dogg was very active on Twitter defending this garbage. Now, he's giving his opinion, and there's nothing wrong with giving your opinion. So if his opinion is that the name isn't bad, you guys are overblowing it, like, having an opinion is fine, although this guy has a defense for everything. But his main argument was that in a month, people are going to know the Viking Experience more than they did War Machine. Well, I sure as fuck hope so. War Machine was their name in Ring of Honor. Raw has more viewers than ROH does. So of course more people are going to know their name. What does that even mean? He was like answering a different question. The question wasn't about how long it's going to take for the fans to take to the name. It was that the name is shit. That was the argument. And so I see Road Dogg's tweet, and I just quote tweeted. I said, what does that even mean? That's all I said. That's what I asked. What does that have to do with the actual changing of the name? To which Road Dogg replied, if you don't know, just move along. The All-American Rejects over here, this guy now thinks he is. Just move along, he says. Names don't matter. That was the other thing I saw Road Dogg tweet at somebody on Monday night. Names don't matter. Names don't matter? His own tag team partner was once called Rockabilly. Rockabilly! I didn't see Rockabilly get inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. The Hall of Shame, maybe. I can't imagine how that name and that gimmick never got over. It's shocking to me. Steve Austin, one of the biggest names of all time in the wrestling business. Before he became Stone Cold, he was the ringmaster, right? We all know that. But that wasn't even the worst of the names that he was given. One of the names suggested to him, I shit you not, was Fang McFrost. Fang McFrost was one of 3 horrible names they put on a list for him to choose from because he didn't want to be the ringmaster anymore. The other 2 were Ice Dagger and Otto von Ruthless. He would have been Otto von Buried had he picked that name. But seriously, Fang McFrost. He would have sounded like Ronald McDonald's arch nemesis with that name. I somehow doubt that Fang 316 would have caught on quite as well. Need I remind you all about NXT Season 2 on Sci-Fi and the legend of Eli Cottonwood? And you're going to tell me that names don't matter? What if they had called you Road Dirt? You think that would have worked as well? So PW Insider said that Road Dogg was not in Montreal for any of the tapings this week, which means he was home tweeting. The belief is that he is taking a, quote, extended break for a while as they reassess things. They reassess his role and try to figure out where he may best fit in going forward, now that he's no longer one of the head writers on SmackDown Live. An extended break means more time for him to tweet. Yes, a bad name can be overcome. A bad name can be overcome, and maybe we are all overreacting. If you have the talent, I'd like to think that even a shitty name can be overcome. I'd rather deal with a bad name than bad booking. But it's the idea that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the point of all this. That's the point that Road Dogg didn't seem to comprehend that people had an issue with here. Vince McMahon does not adhere to that rule, clearly. He'll steal Hank the Bear, your favorite stuffed animal, rip the fucking stuffing out of it, then ask somebody to tape his insides back together and call him Bumblefuck the Bear from now on. Or the Bear Experience, which sounds like some gay porno movie. But that's what he would do. You've got enough problems to address without creating new ones. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.